can Democrats and Republicans really work together? So, Travis, let's send it to you. At Wagner's European Bakery and Cafe, two representatives from different parties, different agendas, but they say we actually can get along?
Yeah, I love this. I mean, the thing is that sometimes in the past, Olympia has been kind of a code word for a swear word. I mean, it's like, oh, that Olympia or Olympia business. And I think those days are kind of beginning to change. So we're having coffee here at Wagner's, and I'm joined this morning by Representative Joan McBride of Kirkland, a Democrat, and Representative Andrew Barkis, a Republican of Olympia. Right. So this is your hometown.
Well, just outside in Lacey. Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous. And we're talking about how you're actually working together. You guys are legitimately friends.
That's absolutely right.
So tell me about the kind of work that y'all do together, even as a Republican and a Democrat.
Well, it's been great getting to know Joan in the last year. So affordable housing is really our passion. And so we instantly connected on that. And one day she walked in, she says, I want to talk to you. And that was the beginning. And we've just been nonstop. We talk a lot. And so we've been working on a couple of great things that we can tell you about. But it is that way, you know, and you start to develop those relationships, which are so critical down here.
So let's talk about affordable housing. What are the needs here? I mean, you hear about it in Seattle, but it's a big deal here in this neck of the woods too.
It's a big deal everywhere in the state of Washington. And what we're doing is we're really looking at policies that encompass the whole state, from the Puget Sound region to eastern Washington. And what we're talking about is supply, the need for supply, how we get those costs down, how we use some creative financing and different things that the state can do. But it's been interesting as we bring these ideas back and forth that we find that common ground to put into legislation to get working on. So that's really been the key.
I love it. I love talking about ways that we're working together, even as you said off camera, when you don't agree on everything.
No, we can get into a kerfuffle every once in a while, but basically we, I think, in the House of Representatives are working well across the aisle. And we work at that. We work at being kind with each other, deliberate, thoughtful in our debate. And it's been going well. And especially, I'd just like to back up Representative Barkis's words on affordable housing. We are going to see, I think, some important bills around affordable housing, some little, some small.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Kirkland has an affordable housing crisis, as we all do. Give us some concrete ways that we might see some change.
Well, I think, as Representative Barkis says, we're going to see some local options for cities and counties so that they have some of the tools that they need. I think we're going to see some help around regulation. We're going to see some policy things that we might see, as Andrew just alluded to, some new financing ways. Now, that might take a little time. That's big. But, you know, what is wonderful about this relationship is that we can talk about big and small things, and we can have talks about controversial ideas, work them out. This doesn't work, this does work. Let's work on this middle ground here. It's been a really wonderful collaboration.
Do you guys think that looking at the dysfunction that we see in Washington, D.C. is kind of a model of what y'all don't want to do on a daily basis?
Well, of course. I mean, it's tough enough to be doing what we're doing. I mean, it is the time and the energy and everything else. And you have to think beyond, you know, we're thinking about our constituents in our districts and then everybody in the state of Washington. So this is the better route. And you know, it's, again, about the relationships. And you know, I'm a small business owner, so you always are building that network and the relationships, and where you can find that common ground. It's not always going to be that way. I mean, there's definite differences in our thoughts and our foundations and our principles and some things. But you know, when I always like to say, when we can set ideology aside and we can look at what the situation and the problem is, then we can find those real solutions. And you know, we did that on our first bill that we started working together, and we just stripped it down, started to find those things, and that worked.
I love it. So last couple of seconds here. After homeless or housing affordability, what's the most important thing you think you could do bipartisanly this session?
Well, I think we are going to need to look at the supplemental budget that the governor has put out. You know, we are all devoted to the notion of one Washington, east, west.
I love it.
Small towns, yes. Big towns, rural areas, and I think that's another thing you'll see is a emphasis on rural economic development. Democrats, Republicans, we, I think, are united on that. We are one Washington. We want all areas to prosper.
You heard it here, one Washington, even Republicans and Democrats agreeing on that as they have a conversation. So thank you both for being here and talking about the positive things so that Olympia isn't a swear word anymore. So come on down, enjoy some coffee with us at Wagner's. We're here till 10. Tell them that Travis Mayfield from Q13 sent you, and I'll buy it for you. Representatives, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Great to be here today.